Hi all, good morning. Hope you all are doing well. And in this session, let's get started. In this session, we will understand how we can create a new instance of Azure Data Factory in your subscription. So, if you see in my screen, I have opened the portal, Azure portal here. I have one subscription in there. I have created this many services, and agenda of this session is to create a new service. How we can create it? So there is, you can see the plus create a new resource. So I wanted to create a new resource of area. So what I need to do, we need to search first, okay, which resource you wanted to data factory. Either you can do it like that, or what you can do here, if you see data factory, you will able to see, okay. So here it is saying data factory, and here if you wanted to read some, you will get some information about the data factory overview as well. So click on the create button here. So these are the settings we have to provide it before creating a data factory instance. So you have to choose your subscription, whatever subscription you have, a free trial subscription, pay as you grow subscription, or Azure Pass subscription, so that you can do it. And here you have a resource group which you can create. As I told you in the previous session, resource group is a collection of resources for the better manageability of our resources. So in this I will create a new resource, okay, for the demo purpose. So let me give a name, cloud resource group. Let's see if this name is available. It's got tick here. I think it is available. Click on OK. So if you see there is a bracket new, that means that while it is creating my Azure Data Factory instance, at the same time it will create first resource group and then the data factory. So that's why it is saying new. It is new. Okay. We need to provide the instance detail. So here if you see, they are saying instance detail, not saying the data factory name. Okay. What does that mean? It means that you can have a multiple instances in the subscription. And also, having said that, we can have a multiple subscription as well in your account. Suppose this is my account, okay, I have one subscription. I could have a multiple subscription as well, and in that subscription I could have a multiple Azure Data Factory instances created, which is, that's why because of this we have a resource group concept, so that we will be able to manage the resources efficiently. So here we can give the instance name, let's say cloud ADF dev. Let's say I create it like this. Okay, it is already been taken. So let me say Azure Data Factory Dev. So here we have given a nicer name, Cloud Azure Data Factory Dev. Reason which this is very important. So wherever you belongs to, you can choose the region which is nearest to your location, and where you wanted to execute your pipelines, and so that's why I have chosen the East US as of now. Version is V2. If you see, V1 will be depreciated very soon, so we have, and it is recommended, so okay, let's choose the recommended one. Next is the, okay, go to the previous. Next is the Git configuration. So see here, Azure Data Factory allow you to configure the Git repository either with a Azure DevOps or the GitHub. Okay, so we have a two repository types with which we will be able to configure our area to Azure DevOps either or the GitHub. So as of now, I have not configured it to any of the Git repository. So let me click on configure Git later. In the upcoming session, I will tell you how we can configure our area to the Git repository. This is basically, it's a version control, and it is basically used for the deployment of continuous, for implementing CI/CD pipelines, okay, continuous integration and continuous deployment to the higher environment. So that is what we have to, it's a good practice to configure your data factory instance to the Git repository. So as of now, because we are learning, so just click on the configure Git later, then click on the network. We do not have to do anything here, okay, we have to keep it as a default public endpoint. Click on advanced. This is also, we do not need to create do anything here. Tag, no need here. Review and create. So if you see, all whatever the settings we have given in the basic tab only, and git configuration we have tell that we will configure it later. So it has done the validation pass. So actually it was checking internally that whatever the values we have given is all fine or not. Then once the validation is passed, click on create. So if you see here, initialization, deployment. So it is initiating the deployment, it is submitting it, so you can get whatever the you are doing in your notification. Okay, and once it will done, if you see the deployment is in progress, it will give all the information. Okay, and what are the resources it is going to create, it will come very soon in this section, resource type, status and operation details. You see here, now it is saying that my deployment is succeeded. If you want to pin to dashboard, or you want to go to the resource group, or here you want to go to resource directly. So if you wanted to go to the, and if you wanted to see the deployment details, you can see here, this is the resource which is created, and the type of the resource is factory, status is okay. And here if you wanted to directly jump into this data factory, then you can click on the go to resource. Okay, and if you wanted to go pin it to the dashboard, then you can do it. So I'll click on pin to dashboard. So this is my dashboard. Let me create one dashboard here. I have created one dashboard already, and let's suppose I created my dashboard with name cloud, cloud my resources. Okay, like that. Let's see. This will be very useful when you have a multiple subscription and multiple resources. So in that case, you can keep your whatever the resources you wanted to in your dashboard, you can pin it and create and pin cloud my resources. So successfully pinned with the new dashboard cloud my resources. Now go to the, instead of going back to the resource directly, you can click on the home, and here if you see, these are the my recent, here if you see, this is the, okay, scroll up little bit. Here if you see cloud Azure data factory dev, this is a minute ago we have created, and in the minute ago we have created a new resource group as well with name cloud hyphen rg. You see, a minute ago. So we, these two resources we have created, and it comes into the resource recent resources block. And if you wanted to see the dashboard, click on this dashboard. And if you see, all the resources are available here. It's the home page. Just a minute, my system got a little bit slow. So if you wanted to see the resource groups, okay, how many resource groups here? If you see, cloud RG is one of the resource group, RG is one of the resource group, RG DAV is one of the resource group. These are the resource group which has been created. So currently we have created this resource group. If you wanted to click here resource group and wanted to see what are the resources belongs to this resource group, then we will get only this cloud Azure data factory hyphen dev, which is we have just now created. Okay, now if I wanted to explore my ADF, okay, instance which I have created, you have to click on it. Just click on your ADF instance, and here if you see, this is the overview you can give. In overview you can see that this resources belongs to the resource group cloud RG. This is the status, in which location it is created. It is created in the East US. This is your subscription ID and all those stuff. And here if you wanted to click, if you wanted to open the ADF, then you have to click on this option studio, open Azure data factory studio. If you wanted to read documentation on this, that you have that Microsoft has provided the documentation for each of the resources as well, so you can go ahead and build your understanding on that. And here if you see, whatever the activities you can do in the Azure data factory, it will be logged here. Okay, you can filter down, there are a lot of filters available. You can add your filters, or you can change the filters here. Okay, if I wanted to change my resource group, I wanted to see for all the resource group, right, what is the activity has been done. So in that case, you can do that also. Okay, and see here, cloud RG. If I wanted to see what has happened in this resource group, okay, so it is saying that 5 minutes ago you have created a deployment will be was validated and it updated a resource group. So this is, and who has initiated this, it is giving my account, okay, here. So and when it was done on this day. So this way it will give you information. Access control is basically more of a permission. If you wanted to see your access on the this resources, then there is an option view my access. Okay, if you click on this, you will be able to see your access. If I click on this, let's see, and I'm getting that service administrator role has full access to all the resources in this subscription. So I have administrator role, okay, and this is my assignment, okay. And if you wanted to see your access, okay, there is one more way here. If you go in your account, go to options, and there you have a permission. You can go to permission and you can see what is the permission you have on the services in the Azure, okay. So this is, and if you wanted to have other resources as well, I mean other users to whom you wanted to give access, so that the other user can also access your Azure Data Factory instance. So what you can do is you have to add you have to add that user and provide the access to that resource, okay. So grant access to this resource, see here. So and if we wanted to see the resource access, then you will able to see. So this is related to the permission and providing the access and roles. So here we have a tags. Tags is basically used to categorize resources and view consolidate. Suppose you have a three environment and you have you created for development environment, for QA environment, production. So like that you can create your tags and values. So it will be easy, it will be more readable, and it will be more giving more information about your Azure Data Factory to which it belongs to. I mean, this is some technical name, okay. If you wanted to give some very familiar name to this instance, then you can give your tags here, okay. Diagnose and solve problems, no need to uh, I mean worry about as of now. So here if you see networking managed identity, so managed identity, each of the resources will have their own identity. Suppose as a user, as a person, we have an identity as a Aadhaar card, right? Similarly, we have an identity in cloud as well for the services. So managed identity is one of that. So there is an identity which is created by the system, or we can also create an identity for our Azure Data Factory instance. So if you see here, by default for ADF, it is on. That means Microsoft has already created an identity for Azure Data Factory. If you see here, this is nothing but your identity. This is, you can relate as your Aadhaar card number. Suppose you have Aadhaar card number, okay. So similarly, in Azure Data Factory instance, Microsoft has given one random principal ID. It is also called a principal ID, or we can also tell as the managed identity. So this is basically used in most of the cases where the external or some other service is trying to get in touch or connect with the Azure Data Factory. In that case, you can take a help of a managed identity. So I'll tell you in the later session how we can use managed identity to get an access to connect with a different different services, Databricks and all, okay. So here we have a properties. This is nothing, not very much. Here we have alert matrices. This is basically for the monitoring purpose. So our main agenda is to open the Azure Data Factory instance. So suppose we have opened it here, we have the option studio. So let's click on open button here. So it will redirect me to the studio page. So it will take hardly a minute to open the page. Okay, so it's loading. Okay, so this is the home page, landing page of your Azure Data Factory instance which you have created. Okay, this is one. If you have multiple, then the same. If you open the another Azure Data Factory, the another home page will be open, and it will be like same. So if you see here, the very first is, it is asking us to set up a code repository. If you do not configure your area, it will ask you to set up a code repository. That is fine. And if you see this home page here, you have ingest. Okay, it is saying, as I told in the previous session, that ADF is nothing but a kind of a cloud-based, fully managed ETL tool or ETL service. So it will be extracting. So whenever we have an extracting, we have to ingest. Okay, copy data at scale once or on a schedule. So this is an option here. We can orchestrate code-free data pipelines, and we can transform the data also. Transform your data using data flows. Okay, and we can have a configure SSIS option also, where we can manage and run our SSIS package in the cloud, which you have already created in your on premises and you wanted to run in cloud. So these are the option. It is giving a summarized view of it. And if you do not want to create any pipeline and you wanted to use a tool, then here you can create this tool you can use and create a pipeline to do so. So this is that way you can also do it. And on the left hand side, if you see, these are the four icons. This is the home tab, which we have already discussed, and the second is author tab. So author tab is the most of the most this is the place where most of the data engineer work in the ADF. We have to whenever you have to create a new pipeline, this is an option, author tab. With the help of author tab, you can create a pipeline, data set, transform data flows, and power query. So pipeline is nothing kind of a SSIS packages, you can say. Data sets is a representation of your data. Okay, it will connect to your link service. I'll tell you where is the linked service. We can create the link service from. If you have a transformation activities which need to be created, for that you have to create a data flow. Okay, then we have a power query. So this is an advanced. We will we will discuss it later. The power query. These three we will discuss. Okay, monitor tab. Then after the author tab, home and author tab, we have a monitor tab. Once the pipeline will be created, how we can monitor it. So we have this pipeline runs. Here you can see whatever the pipelines which is triggered, and here we have a debug track. So these two categories is here. If you wanted to see the pipeline which run in last 20 instead of last 24, if you wanted to see all the pipeline run which ran in last 7 days, so you can change the filter like that. So whatever the pipelines which ran in the last 7 days, and what is the duration, who has triggered it, what is the status, if any error, so this all those status will be available here. If you specifically want to check the pipeline name, specific pipeline, not all the name, pipeline. So as of now, no pipeline is being created. That is why it is saying no result found. If the pipeline is being created, it automatically take the pipeline from the author tab, and it will display here. From here, you can tick your pipeline. You can check your pipeline, select your pipeline, and for that pipeline only, it will give you all the runs for the last 7 days. So if you have after pipeline runs, you can check the trigger runs as well. So similar way, you can check the triggers. You can change it, the filters, and you can do it. And if you see here, I told you, I mean in the theoretical part, triggers are of 4 times. Here also 4 types. Here also you can see it could be a schedule trigger, it could be a tumbling, storage, and custom events. So 4 types triggers is available here. Then we have a runtime and session. So here we can create a Azure integration runtime. So here, if you see here, by default, Microsoft, whenever you create Azure Data Factory instance, by default, they will provide as an auto resolve integration runtime. They have not created any data set, linked service, pipeline, but they will provide a auto resolve integration runtime. That means this is by default. That means whenever you create a pipeline, the infrastructure will be given by the integration runtime. It will help us to run your pipeline in very nearest possible reason. Suppose you have created a ADF in the East US, okay, and you have a data to be moved from source to destination. So in case of auto resolve integration, so whatever the destination is been created in which location, that location is been taken by the auto resolve integration runtime. Okay, so that if somebody asks you what is the reason, I mean the server belongs to which region, will be able to execute your pipeline if you select the auto resolve integration runtime while creating your link service. In that case, the location of your sink. Okay, suppose I have a requirement to load the data from my blob storage to ADLS Gen 2. So the storage account which I have created for ADLS Gen 2, the whatever the reason it belongs to, that reason, from that reason, I mean, if it belongs to North South India, then the South India data center or the server from the South India location or the region will be used to execute your pipeline. So that is what the auto resolve integration runtime. Suppose the availability is not there in the South India, and your then what happen? It will take the region of your Azure Data Factory instance. That is nothing in our case is East US. So this is what we have the overview. And if you see, this is the managed. Okay, this is the last step. So the last step, we discuss the home author where we can create a pipeline, data sets. This is, we have a monitor where we can check the status of the pipeline runs and the trigger runs. And we have a managed where we can create our link service and we can create our integration runtime. So if you see closely look, this came both link service and integration runtime under the connection tab. That means as we told right earlier, as I told, that connection link service is nothing but a kind of a connection string to your source and destination. So here you can create a link service and integration runtime also you can create it. By default they have given a auto resolve integration. If you wanted to get configure your ADF, then in the source control we have a git configuration, you can configure it. ARM template is nothing but we can say a template of a JSON file format that defines the instruction infrastructure. So whatever you done in the pipeline, by default the JSON coding will be done. Okay, so ARM template is a complete JSON format, we can say, whenever your pipeline has been done everything. So whenever you wanted to import that defines see here, ARM template is a JSON file that defines the infrastructure and configuration of your project. ADF can be exported and updated as an ARM template artifact. So if you have a new, if you have another ADF instance, okay, and you wanted to import the template, this is an option from where you can import it, and you can also export the ARM template. So this is what we have here. Then in the author tab settings, if you see here, we have a triggers. You can either create a trigger from this location, or when you create a pipeline, there itself you have an option to create a trigger. If you have a global parameters, so global parameter is nothing a kind of a parameter which is global to all the pipelines which you are going to create. It is like of a in SSIS, if you wanted to compare, it is nothing but like as a project parameters. We have a SSIS package level parameters and we have a project level parameters. So global parameter is nothing but a kind of a project level parameters in SSIS. We can say this parameter we have be used in all the pipelines in the ADF. So that is if you wanted to have library, so this you can do it. It is not required as of now. This is in the security side. If you wanted to manage, add some key, there you have option to create a customer managed key. Okay, so there we have all the options that we have discussed. Here if you see data factory, so here we have only the data factory live mode, and because we have not configured, that's why we can see here the live mode only. When we create configure our ADF pipeline, okay, to git repository, there you have to mention your collaboration branch, and there you will see the multiple branches here. You can whenever your team have a multiple users to work in the same applications and all, right? So what you can do, you can create a collaboration. They will create their feature branch, they will move their code to the collaboration branch, and after that it will be published to the main ADF live. Okay, as of now, as we have not configured anything, I mean a git repository, so what will happen whenever we create any pipeline, okay, there is an option to publish all. Okay, you once it is done, everything is done, you have to publish, you have to validate, and you have to publish all. Once you publish all, then you it will be appear here. Okay, so in the next session I'll show you to create a very first pipeline and what are the activities we have and to work with, and we will create the very first pipeline to understand, we'll create the link service, everything in the demo. Okay, so till the time, have a nice day. Happy learning. Thank you all.